My name is Gasia Mikaelian. I'm an anchor reporter at KTVU Fox 2 News in the San Francisco Bay Area. Today we're talking about how relaxing and meditating can help you deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's talk about this more by welcoming Dr. Emma Seppala to the conversation. You're the director of Stanford Center for Compassion and Altruism Research and Education. Thank you for being with us.
My pleasure.
Now, you recently conducted a study that had to do with meditation, sky breath meditation, both at your university and Yale. Tell me about the study and what you found.
Absolutely. So we know that mental health has been declining over the last decade, especially among young adults 18 to 25. So we wanted to see, can we offer some sort of resilience building programs that can help them? So we looked at 3 well-being programs, one of which was Sky Campus Happiness. The other one is mindfulness-based stress reduction, which you've likely heard of. And the third was an emotional intelligence program. The fourth group was a control group. And we looked at, over the course of 8 weeks, how did the students improve in each of the groups as compared to the control group. And what we found was that the group that had the strongest impact was the Sky Campus Happiness program, which offers the Sky Breath meditation. And we saw that compared to the control group, it decreased stress, depression, mental health days, and it improved social connectedness, positive emotion, and mindfulness. So that was really actually surprising to get that many findings.
Tell me, what is sky breath meditation?
It's a series of breathing techniques that some of our past research has shown is really effective for anxiety and trauma. We worked with veterans with trauma in a past study and found that after 1 week of practicing, their trauma actually normalized, their anxiety normalized, and this was maintained 1 month and 1 year out. So it seems to be really effective to work with that kind of those kind of breathing techniques.
I know a lot of people say that it takes a while to really get into and understand and figure out meditation and how it works for you. Is there anything you can tell people who might be completely new to meditation, very interested by what you're saying, and might want to, just perhaps dip that first toe into it?
Absolutely. So there are so many forms of meditation out there, and some people find that it's really challenging to start, especially if they have high stress or anxiety. Sitting and closing their eyes and doing nothing can be anxiety provoking in itself. So that's why breathing practices like the ones we did may be a good first step. And that's what worked really well with the veterans who had really high anxiety, because when you use breathing exercises, you start to calm your heart rate and blood pressure in minutes. If you have a show me attitude, you're going to see the changes very quickly using your breath.
So how can people at home maybe start to learn how to breathe the way the successful people in the study did?
Sure. So you can learn the Sky Breath meditation through a nonprofit called Art of Living. And for the students too, there's a program called Sky Campus Happiness. And for veterans, there's a program that's free of charge called Project Welcome Home Troops. So lots of options. And then if you just want to start with a short exercise at home, just do an experiment. See what happens when you exhale for twice as long as you inhale. So keeping your eyes closed, do that for 5 minutes. Breathe in for, a full breath, but then breathe out twice as slowly. And you're going to calm your heart rate, your blood pressure in minutes, and you'll notice the difference.
What do you say to those people? I mean, look, 100 years ago, my husband and I took a Tai Chi class, and I think at one point the instructor said, now think about nothing for 60 seconds. And I thought, I am not physically able to think about nothing for 60 seconds. I thought, do you know what I could think about in 60 seconds? How do you take those people who are perhaps very naturally high strung, perhaps even feeling more anxiety than usual due to the current pandemic? How do how do you talk them down?
Absolutely. I mean, we are used to living in this sort of fight or flight, high adrenaline mode, even without a pandemic. And now we have the pandemic where, all of the stress is attached. And so anxiety levels are really high, and it's very difficult to talk your way out of anxiety. We know that from brain research. When you are feeling a strong negative emotion, you can't easily talk your way out of it. But using breathing, you can actually start to sort of shut down that fight or flight part of your nervous system and tap into the rest and digest part of your nervous system, the calming response. And that's why breathing is really a great first step to try and manage our minds.
So I like what you said, just as a very simple exercise we can do anywhere at any time. Breathe in, you think of breathing in 1, 2, 3, and then breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you say that we should be feeling some effects not long after we start.
Yeah, do that for 5 minutes with your eyes closed and just notice. Yeah, everyone that I did this exercise with pretty much starts to feel the difference. So try that also in the morning when you wake up, before you're trying to go to sleep, just to calm everything down.
Let's talk about, student life. You're at, a world famous university. I know many schools here in California and across the country are saying we either can't have or very likely will not have in-person classes. I've been working from home. I'm not in my newsroom, and I've been away from my newsroom for 4 months. I miss my friends in the newsroom. I miss the people who I wasn't friends with in the newsroom. I miss the lady at the front desk. Just that social input that I used to get, I realized I totally took for granted. How can something like the social aspect of college be taken away, and yet we still expect students to thrive? Is there must be a difficulty there?
We know that after food and shelter, our greatest need is for social connectedness. It predicts our psychological health, our physical health, even the length of our life. However, what's really interesting about the research on social connectedness is that it has less to do with how many friends you have or interactions you have, and a lot more with how connected you feel on the subjective internal level. So we know that when we're feeling very stressed, we're going to be more focused on ourselves and less likely to feel connected. But when you're able to attend to your own well-being and lower your anxiety, you're going to feel more connected on the inside. So that's what's interesting. You don't have to be around a million people to feel that sense of belonging.
I know in the beginning of the pandemic, once we were all sent, to work from home and go to school from home, there were a lot of, let's have a Zoom chat, let's watch a movie together over the internet. And I feel like now we're sort of over those things. Is there anything that we can do to help replace that sort of deep social connection that can't come from, me and a girlfriend, sharing a cup of coffee on a Saturday morning?
Absolutely. So we know that the actual greatest predictor of well-being and happiness is doing things for other people. And so even if you're from home, even if you're alone, you can always do something for someone else, whether it's, act of service or calling someone who's, your great aunt who never gets a phone call or whatever it is, any little act, getting flowers delivered to someone, any act of service is actually going to boost your well-being tremendously and going to help with that feeling of connection. Plus, it just makes the world a better place, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it certainly sounds like you're telling us to not get trapped in this, spiral of, misery. I'm so alone. I fear for my job. What if I can't pay the mortgage? Because those thoughts really do tend to pile on very quickly.
They pile on and they create more stress. And they're about things that haven't even happened yet or may never happen, right? So we have to be able to snap ourselves out of that mindset. And that's where using breathing, using meditation sort of clears the clutter in your mind. And then what all of the research is showing, ours and others, is that you improve your well-being, your life gets better, your health gets better, your immune function gets better because your stress levels lower.
Can I I have just a couple of mantras that I have sort of cooked up for myself over the years, having to do mostly with my work life, but also my home life. And there's one that I feel is almost universal. And when I'm feeling stressed about something that's not in my direct control or that's already passed, I just tell myself, there is nothing I can do about it now. And I don't say that with despair, I say that with release. Is that an idea that people might want to adopt when it comes to worrying over COVID-19, worrying about, did I mess up at work and now I'm in trouble? Will I still be able to send my child to that private school that we hope for in a couple of years? So much is not in our control. And perhaps admitting that maybe helps.
Absolutely. So having those kind of mantras is really smart. And the truth is, if you are in a moment where you have the time to worry about something, in that moment, everything is okay. The roof above your head, you're able to breathe, So usually if things really aren't okay, you don't have time to think, you don't have time to worry. So worry often does not necessarily help us in life. So being able to cut that with a mantra like you're doing, with some breathing, or even just stepping outside on your balcony or out into nature. Research shows that just 5-minute walk makes a tremendous difference for your anxiety and depression too.
And just that attitude of gratitude that you mentioned, I have a roof over my head, we have good food on the table, like millions of people in this country, I have 2 little children who are not able to go to school, therefore not able to socialize with their friends. And there's been a little bit of chirping about, oh, I missed this, or I want to go see so-and-so. And I say, let's not focus on what we can't do. Let's focus on the fact that we're all healthy. We have good food on the table. We're all together here at home. Just reframing our situation does seem to help.
Absolutely, that we're still together, right? So much research now shows that gratitude, when you have more of that in your life, you actually are going to be more realistic. So there are 3 times more positive things that happen to us every day than negative. That's what the research shows. Yet what are we focused on? We're focused on the negative, the little things that didn't go right that day. But when people focus on what is working out for them in their life, they actually have much greater happiness in their life. They have better health. They even sleep better, research shows. So we need to be realistic, we actually need to be framed in a more positive, grateful manner.
So what about the people who are listening to this and they say, look, this may all be fine for you, but some people actually feel better when they worry. They feel like at least I'm doing something about it. How do you talk to those people who feel like if I don't worry, then the bad will happen and I will be caught off guard?
Yeah. So why don't you set aside some time? You're just going to have worry time. For 1 hour, I'm just going to sit here and worry and plan for the worst. And then after that, I'm going to let it go and move on. Just so that when the worry takes over your life, when anxiety takes over your life, it paralyzes you. And we know at the level of the nervous system, your inflammation goes up, your immunity goes down. And also you're not able to connect so well with other people. Your emotional intelligence is impacted. Your decision-making is impacted. You're wasting a lot of resources because you're activating that fight or flight constantly.
And how does a person know? I mean, I feel like we're all sort of functioning at maybe 75% of our usual, work output, our usual happiness, our usual exuberance. For those people who may be feeling far lower than 75%, how can a person recognize, look, this isn't just me being down about missing my work friends. I might need to take some serious steps and talk to a professional in a medical setting.
Definitely. Well, I mean, it's always a good idea to speak to someone when you're feeling really, really low. Always a good idea to speak to a medical professional. And then as well, doing things that research shows are helpful, like, for example, the breathing and meditation to support your mental health are also going to be good.
Well, I've learned so much just by talking to you, and you've helped lift my mood because I realized some of the things that I've been doing and worrying about really aren't helping. So I'll try the breathing. So again, just to repeat for people who may be just now joining us, a good calming breathing technique you said is breathe in and then breathe out for twice as long. So it'd be breathe in 1, 2, 3, breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's that 4, 5, 6 part that can really help slow us down.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add on the subject before we have to let you go?
Let's see. Yeah, no, I think we're good. We covered a lot of ground.
I like just the fact that you took a minute to think tells me that you're taking this very seriously and wanting to help us all. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much to Dr. Emma Seppala. It's a long title, but I'm going to get it right off this piece of note paper I have. Director of Stanford Center for Compassion and Altruism Research and Education. Thank you so much, Doctor.
It's science director, not the
I'm
director
sorry,
of the science.
Science Director of Stanford Center for Compassion and Altruism Research and Education.
Correct. Yep. And then if you could link to the sky, to the Art of Living and whoever offers the sky breath meditation, that'll be helpful for people.
Okay. Do you want to throw out the website real quick?
Yeah. So Sky Breath Meditation can be learned through Art of Living, artofliving.org. The college program is offered through Sky Campus Happiness, so skycampushappiness.org, and the Veterans Program through Project Welcome Home Troops.
Got it. Thank you for all those websites. You can also learn more by going to coronavirusnow.com anytime. Doctor, again, thank you.